Now, one thing about Umar Johnson is that the overwhelming majority of how it is that he moves, I disagree with. But I'm objective enough to actually evaluate every single conversation that he has and then take it not necessarily based off of the messenger, but the message, right? I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Shout out to Coach Rain. I appreciate you. And so the message that he had on a platform, and let me share it with you guys. Let's just go ahead and get straight into it. And the platform that he appeared on was an interview platform called The Art of Dialogue. The Art of Dialogue has had several different interviews, I believe, that I've checked out by different people. I think that they were even the ones that brought the Keith Murray interview that went viral where he was acting crazy and all of that. So shout out to The Art of Dialogue. But apparently he appeared in this clip on The Art of Dialogue, and he was speaking specifically about rap and hip-hop culture considering its 50th anniversary. Let's deep dive into what Umar Johnson had to say as a result of it, y'all.
I like Fat Joe. One of the things I respected about Fat Joe was when he reaffirmed that Latinos are Africans. He openly said that Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and Cubans were African, and they need to start acting like it. Their ancestors came from the continent just like ours did. Now, some people could argue he only said that in order to, keep his validity in the hip hop community. But I believe he was sincere. I believe Fat Joe was sincere. I'm a fan of Fat Joe. I like him. My biggest issue with all the rappers would be, when are y'all going to do more for the community? Because see, my issue is this. Right now, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop. That's the big theme right now all over the country, all over the world. 50th anniversary of hip hop.
Has hip hop been around for 50 years? What is it? 2000? Yeah, that's about right. It's 2023, 70s. And to contrary belief, a lot of people think that hip hop was started by black people. Hip hop was started by a lot of different people that were doing a lot of different things, including the b-boys, the dancers, the DJs, the rappers, the taggers, all of the different people that was participating. And it wasn't just black people. It wasn't just black culture. It was a lot of different people that participated in it based off of what they were trying to communicate and also starting a new thing that was trendy and hot and people didn't know what it was at that particular time. So stop trying to gatekeep something that's actually bad for you. And when I say bad for you, culture is whatever it is that it evolves into that you celebrate and you embrace at that particular time. So if you turn something that used to be unidentified or you didn't know what it was, and then it ultimately turns into something that is bad, then that means that culturally it's bad for you because you're celebrating the worst of it. And let me also be clear, because I see some people in the chat saying, yep, you're right. Some people saying, no, it's black culture. Okay, so let's have that conversation before we deep dive into it. Let's just say it's black culture, right? But it's also the worst thing for you. Is it something that you still want to gatekeep? Is it something that you still want to champion and keep it for yourself? Is it something that's actually good for you? Because let me tell you something. Even demons and the devil himself is the prince of the air and was a musician. And so if the very thing that you champion the most, that all of the messages that are the worst for you, that's training your daughters to do a certain thing, that's training your sons to move a certain way that you can't even get away from, as we've just seen from Hassan Campbell, if it's the worst thing for you, why do you want to gatekeep it and keep it to be yours? I'm just curious. If it's the worst thing for you, why do you want to gatekeep it and make sure that it's yours? Is yours no? Okay, cool. Let's hear what Dr. Umar Johnson got to say.
We only got 60 days left in 2023. Do you mean to tell me we're going to let this year-long celebration go by and nobody's going to have a serious conversation about whether hip hop has actually been a benefit or not to the black community? I haven't seen a conversation, a YouTube, a town hall meeting, a BET special. I don't see anybody talking about
He's absolutely
the
right.
ramifications, the negative impact that hip hop has had on the black community. Now, the first thing the hip hop artist is going to say, I'm only rapping what I live.
And I hate to say it because, again, a lot of what I see Umar Johnson say, I disagree with, but he's absolutely right. Whether you agree with it, whether you disagree with it, there has been no conversation on a major platform, especially from those that continue to push all of this into your communities with no repercussions, but they benefiting off of you. There has been zero. And when I say zero, there has been zero. Listen, stop focusing on the messenger and focus on the message. It's not about whether or not you like Dr. Umar Johnson or not. It's whether or not what he's saying is correct in this particular instance on this particular platform in this interview. Why is nobody, and I mean zero people, having a conversation or is willing to have a conversation about whether or not it is beneficial or it's had a negative impact overall? Has it been overwhelmingly better for you or has it been overwhelmingly worse for you? Nobody is having a conversation, regardless of where you stand on the spectrum. Zero people are having the conversation as to whether or not this music and this culture that you love and you embrace and you celebrate the most is good for you. Because listen, I see y'all. Y'all feeling some type of way because it's the thing that you like to listen to. But the thing that you don't want to have a conversation about is the very thing that on Monday, right, we reviewed a teacher that said that 5-year-olds are telling her to shut the fuck up, that they want to listen to Pound Town. 5-year-olds are saying that they telling her to shut up, and she's teaching a ballet class. And then when she goes to talk to the mother said, "We don't give a fuck about what you're talking about." The teacher then became an extension of a parent, and that they can't parent the children because the parents are literally influenced by what is our cultural norms, because it spills into everything, not just the music that you listen to. It's infecting your children. So when we had that conversation on Monday, y'all was all in agreement and y'all was saying, "Oh yeah, she right. It's bad out here." But now when Dr. Umar Johnson, even though I disagree with the majority of what he says outside of this, when he's having a conversation about the culture itself and whether or not it's actually been overwhelmingly beneficial or bad, and he just brings up the question, now y'all want to personally attack him. Which one is it? Is it bad when the teacher is talking about the 5-year-olds want to talk about Pound Town? Or is it good when Dr. Umar Johnson then bring up the conversation and say, how come nobody throughout the entire year is having a conversation about whether or not it's been beneficial or worse for us? Which one is it? Which one is it? Look at Henry Ross. Dr. Umar is a fraud. He can't even put a sentence together without repeating the same joke. What are you talking about? What does that have to do with the conversation? See, y'all so easily distracted. It makes me so uncomfortable that y'all can't even sit here and you want to throw ad hominem attacks, and that's not even warranted in this conversation. I've criticized Dr. Umar Johnson just as much as anybody else, but I can separate the vessel from the actual message that's being conveyed over to me in order to be able to have this conversation in truth. Which one is it?
You don't live it no more. The minute you start making money, you moved out the neighborhood. So why you still rapping about drugs and death when you don't live around that no more? That means you're a hypocrite. If you're telling me you're rapping what you live, you don't live it no more.
He's right.
And if you're so dedicated to telling the ghetto tale, why did you move out the neighborhood? Why do you send your kids to private schools? So you live in a white neighborhood, you send your kids to white private schools, you moved out the black ghetto the minute you had enough money to do so, but yet you're telling me the reason you're still rapping about death, drugs, jail, and homicide is because that's the life you live. You don't live it no more.
I don't think that I've ever reviewed a video where I agreed 100% with everything that Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, but he's 100% correct. He's 100, 200, 300% correct with what he's saying right now. He is 100% correct with what he's saying and conveying right now. Maybe he didn't get his school open when he said that he was going to get it open. Maybe you don't like the necessarily way in which he communicated with people as far as, listen, that ain't what we talking about right now. He's 100% correct. It is hypocritical for you to continue to capitalize off of something that you are not living when you use the excuse for why you were rapping about it in the first place in order to get rich as a result of it. You sent your kids out to private school, but you still advocating for them to do perk 30s. Where's the lie? Where is it off? Oh, it's just entertainment until your kids is doing perk 30s. Joe Mama, is just entertainment until your kids decide to be the ones that's on the perk 30. When your kids is doing the thing and living a life that they think that they believe that their favorite rapper is doing because they so influenced by it, is it still just entertainment or no?
So for me, I'm looking at hip hop and I'm saying to myself, it is the most influential music genre in the world. 50 years, a multi-billion-dollar industry. And in 50 years, the hip hop community hasn't built a single relevant institution for the black community anywhere. Think about that for a minute. Think about that. Look, Dr. King began his career with the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955. Dr. King was assassinated in 1968. That means Dr. King had 13
Reading
years.
that super
Look
chat
at what
shortly.
he did in 13 years. Let's go to the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party was founded in 1966. The revolutionary phase of the Black Panther Party was pretty much over with by 1971. That's 5 or 6 years. And look what the Panthers did in 5 or 6 years. Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, showed up in New York in 1916. He's deported in 1927. 11 years. Hip hop has been around for 50 years. Not a single hospital, not a single school, not a single bank, not a single supermarket, not a single distribution company. How can we call hip hop a blessing to the black community with that type of money being made off of our culture and the community doesn't benefit from it at all?
I need to sit on that for a second. Because I don't know. It sounds right. I need to sit on it. Let me finish hearing what he got to say, and then we're going to mine it out at the end.
So you come to the community and give out a few turkeys. You come to the community and give out a few pair of sneakers. You come to the community and you throw a couple parties. And in exchange for some damn turkeys and chickens and some sneakers, you push death and destruction on our children for a living. And we're supposed to be okay with that because you dropped off some clothes and some turkeys. It's not.
He's right. I hate to say it. I hate to admit it. I hate to join Team Umar on this conversation, but he's 100% right. How is it any different than your favorite drug dealer and your dope dealer in any of your communities and that's throughout history, and they poisoned the entire community and they got rich off of it, and then they came back and they gave turkeys as a result of it? How is it any different? He's 100% right. I don't even hate to say it because I'm going to agree when somebody actually is right, and then I'm going to disagree when I take a different position, and I don't think that somebody else is right. He is 100% right. It's a fact. Everything he's saying is on point. I don't disagree with one thing that he said.
Not acceptable. Until hip hop begins to be a blessing for the black community, hip hop is an agent of white supremacy.
Yeah, that turkey stuff irritate me, bro. I'm sorry, man.
A turkey? A turkey? We don't need no more damn turkeys. And then the rapper will say, well, we didn't invent violence. You're right. You didn't invent violence. There was gang banging before hip hop. Okay, there was drug dealing before hip hop. There was black on black crime before hip hop. But let me tell you where hip hop is guilty. Hip hop glamorized it. Hip hop glorified it. Hip hop, how do you say you make it bigger than what it is? Hip hop put a spotlight on negative aspects of black culture. So no, you didn't create it, but music is a very influential art form. Your brain is controlled by what it hears and what it sees. So we all know people who was influenced by gangster rap and decided to join a gang, decided to start drug dealing, started to gang bang. Because you got to remember, hip hop takes off at the end of the radical period of the Black Panther Party, the early 70s. You know why? Because you had all this passion, and young black males needed to take this passion and put it into something. Huey P. Newton just got out of jail. Bobby Seale just got out of jail. Black Liberation Army, some of them are going to jail. So you got all these young black men, but our leaders are being killed. Our activists are being killed. Our revolutionaries are being locked up. But you got this passion. We ain't got the guts to go to the streets. We don't want to get involved in the liberation fight, but we want to do something. So let's create some revolutionary black music. And that was part of the motivation for hip hop. The problem was that after a couple years, the white power structure saw how they could use and exploit hip hop to destroy the image of the black male. And that's when they introduced gangster rap into hip hop. And gangster rap has been dominating hip hop ever since the mid 80s. And ain't nobody saying nothing about it, and ain't nobody doing anything about it as well. Hip hop was supposed to be musical, revolutionary music. And it was for a period of time. When you had your Public Enemy, your Most Def, when you had your Conscious Rapper, your KRS-One, your Boogie Down Productions, your Poor Righteous Teachers, your X-Clan, your Queen Latifah, you had it. But once that gangster rap came, and the brothers in the city saw that I could sell 1 million records with no radio play and talk about sex, drugs, and this and that, they ran white to it. And so the rapper and the athlete became the role model in the 80s, because that's right around the time that professional black men started benefiting from affirmative action and civil rights set-asides and white college scholarships. And what did they do when they came home from college? They moved to the white suburb. So black professional men abandoned black boys, so they automatically turned to the athletes and the gangster rappers.
I can't say that I disagree with him. I can't say that I disagree with him. He did a mic drop on that, on a low though. Seriously. I mean, when he's right, he's right. When he's right, he's right. It's nothing that I could sit here and disagree with as far as what he's saying. It's some tidbits in here where I could probably pick apart, but I'm not going to do that because he's 100% right. What else is there to say? What else is there to say? I don't even want to mess up what it is that he said because I think that he articulated himself perfectly for the moment that we have in this conversation.